Brian Kerns.
Hey.
Alex Moore.
How's it going?
What's up? 2/3 of the Joke Slingers.
It's a weird way to be introduced, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to what would be a 2/3 of the Bacon Bros? Not to be confused with the Bacon Brothers, Kevin Bacon's band.
I prefer to just not have labels,
Okay.
Yeah, we're non-binary.
Non-binary.
Okay. You guys are non-binary.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool. We're all about progress here. This is not a Scottcast, so welcome.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you.
However you come, man. I'm not telling you how to come.
Yeah, it's just good to be here.
Yep.
I was going to ask for comedy advice, but cum advice would be good too.
I mean,
how would you come in a motel room in Iowa?
I would fire it on the floor, put on my sneaker, and then rub it into the carpet.
Okay. Alex?
I am like Sting, man. I just masturbate like forever, and then I put it away. You do it over and over and over and over and over again, and then one day you just go ahead and let it fly, and it just floods the whole room. That's my method. So, yeah. It's mostly about self-control.
So your tantric masturbation is how you would masturbate in Iowa?
Yeah.
So that's good.
It's like subtle massaging.
Okay.
Through the pants.
What's up, guys? How are you doing? Thanks for being on my podcast.
Hey, thanks for having us.
I'm going to try to not do this with a hacky radio voice.
Hey, welcome back.
Where you been hiding at, man? Why don't you come to shows anymore? Because
social distancing comedy doesn't make any sense when you've spent time rocking a packed house. To have nobody in the crowd, man, that just makes comedy that much harder when it's already difficult as it is.
That's how I've been getting better.
I mean,
not that you need to get better, but
well, I definitely need to get better. The comedy is a constant growth thing, man. It's not something that you ever perfect. Even Richard Pryor could have probably kicked himself in the ass for some things that he said wrong in his own mind. This is something that you can never perfect. No matter how long you've been doing it. It's like tantric masturbation.
Right.
You can't quite get it right.
Right.
You keep trying.
But you can't do it wrong either.
Brian, I've known you for like a year and a half.
I didn't mark it down anywhere, but
okay.
Yeah.
Alex, how long have you known Brian? How long have you guys known each other?
Like 10, 11 years, something like that.
Where'd y'all meet at?
The Comedy Store.
The Comedy Store?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, smoking weed in an alley, man. That's how all good things start.
Classy.
Yeah.
Yep. Sacred ground.
That is sacred ground.
Yeah, that's what it's called, sacred ground.
How long did you spend out there at the Comedy Store?
Let's see, like 7 years.
Damn.
And I was bi-coastal for 3 years. I was working the road on the East Coast 2 weeks a month, and then I was out in LA the other 2 weeks a month, and I did that for 3 years of my existence. And it was fun,
But
I'm
it's
glad
great times, great place.
Glad to not be there now, with all the shutdowns and stuff. I think the store's been closed. They try to reopen and then they're closed, and they try to reopen and then they're closed. And
parking lot shows.
But
parking lot dining.
Even those are getting shut down. Or I guess now. And then they were doing shows on the patio through the glass, through the window, and they got shut down for that.
It's weird seeing people eat where I've pissed by my car. So many times,
What kind of stories you guys got for me from the Comedy Store? You got to have some cool stories.
There's a lot, man. There's a lot you can't talk about, too.
Because sacred ground, right?
Because it is what it is, man. It's
you'll see the wildest things that you've ever seen in your life that you can't even explain.
Can't really talk about. I don't know if you know who Roddy Piper is. I don't know, the wrestler. One night, man, I pulled in and to the lot where they're having dining now, and I went to park I had a Bronco at the time, so I whipped it around and then I backed it in, and as I back it in, I didn't realize it, but I bump into the car behind me. And then, I don't know who it was, when the parking lot guy comes running over the car. He's like, "Oh shit, dude, you just hit Roddy Piper's car." And he's like, "Yeah, he's in it." And I'm like, "Oh fuck," So I get out of the car and I go back. I move it up a little bit, and I go back to the back, and all of a sudden I hear, "Don't worry about it, you drive like me." and that was it. You know, like he was cool as a cucumber after. Yeah, so it wasn't a big deal.
He didn't even care.
Yeah, didn't care.
Roddy Piper was one of the coolest guys
yeah, he
ever.
was, man.
Was he a regular around there?
Yeah, well, he wasn't a paid. Was he a paid? Yeah, they finally did make.
They
him
put him on the wall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was around all the time. Steve Simone brought him in. I don't know if you know who Steve Simone is. Mm-hmm. Good dude, man. Makes really family friendly, nostalgic kind of comedy. He's got a really good.
Remember Saturday mornings, guys?
Feel like a kid again when he.
It's great. Like that dude can get laughs about talking about how cereal tastes. You know what I mean? Like, remember Cinnamon Toast Crunch, guys?
Yeah.
Dude, great all around friendly guy too.
Yeah.
Man.
You got to be a smart comedian to be able to do that too. Like clean, I think clean comedy is harder, especially for someone like me who's just like naturally like grown up around a dirty, gritty lifestyle. Like I want to talk about drugs and sex and dumb shit like that.
But that's what you have to talk about.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is like people who are trying to clean up a blue comic are taking away who you are, and people who are trying to make a clean comic blue. That doesn't work either.
Natural, your real personality and who you really are. That's what you got to do. That's what a lot of new guys mess up, and they try. They get it. You get it at a certain point, and the Comedy Store really brings that out in comics. Is can't be a fraud.
You got to be you. You have to be you.
Yeah.
And if you is a dirty fuck, who was raised in a whorehouse and watched your mom fuck dudes for money, then you got to talk about that, man. And the same goes true as if you don't have any dirt in you and you're just this wholesome guy. You got to be that wholesome guy too. It's when it's the fakeness that you can't have there. Everybody can just see through it. Comedy Store is full of like the most jaded dudes in the world. Like they're jaded. They'll sit there and just listen to your shit and walk away from you, man. And that's it. And they no laughs, no nothing. It's just how it is. And the customers are, they come in off the street. They're from Australia, or they're from fucking somewhere else, and they don't know you either. And they'll listen to you. There's no love. So if you don't have a realness, a real connection, and to a crowd of 5, then you won't go anywhere there. So, game recognizes game in the comedy world, and that's just it. And it's especially on point there. It's probably the realest there than it is anywhere else.
And that's why like there are 3 main clubs out in LA, and it's the Improv, the Laugh Factory, and the Comedy Store. And I was you're either attracted to that place or you hate it. And I was attracted to it. I felt like it's my favorite place on earth, really. If I'm gonna point one place, and that makes me weird because it's haunted as fuck. Bad things happen there, all that shit. But when it comes down to it, like. It's where you have to be you. But at the Laugh Factory, you can be a prop comic.
You can bring in your doll and you can set it up in the corner and drink a seltzer water.
Yeah, so if you want to be good, like Mitzi Shore set that place up as comedy college, and you don't understand it when you're going through it, but then you look back on it and you're like, holy shit, I learned this and I learned that and I learned this, and you talk to like. Just one time I was talking to Roddy Piper, and he, first off, the very paranoid individual because he'd been stabbed a couple of times by fans. And one time he pulled off his jacket and he said,
the Kevlar jacket.
He said, hey, hold this. And that thing must have weighed 30 pounds.
Kevlar
dude's walking around fully suited, ready to be stabbed. But he told
probably not ready to be stabbed, but at least in case of emergency.
In case of because it already happened to him. And one night he told me, "Don't let this place do you like the WWE did me." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Don't let it own you." And that's kind of that was great advice because it's true. You can't like when it comes down to it, people get comfortable in their home club, but you got to be able to work all of them.
Right.
You can't let one place own you. You can't, divert your whole life around it. Like the Comedy Store, when Mitzi was there, was a stop on the road to success. You landed there, you did your sets, you did your 15-minute workouts, and then you went out on the road and you entertained, or you went on TV and entertained. And I was there during a time when that wasn't happening anymore. Like it was, people were there for years and years, same comics, doing, it's kind of sad when you think about it. Like no real new blood going in there. But then it all changed once the talent coordinator got fired, and it's a better place now, I think. for a newer.
Is that
dude.
the guy that Rogan? Is that who Rogan always talks about? There was like a
Yeah.
reason Rogan left.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, Tommy was definitely the
Yeah,
reason why
Tommy,
Rogan
yeah,
left. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Tommy.
Tommy was a weird dude. Like, Tommy had a weird thing going on there, and he played a lot of mind games with everyone, and even me. I don't even think, like, I look back on it, I don't think Tommy played a lot of games, but I know he did. Like, I can't particularly pick the game out that he was playing with me, because he was giving me a lot of love, and he was giving me, like, I had a set that nobody else had. I had a time spot that was only for me in the history of the Comedy Store, but I still know that Tommy was fucking with me. I still know that he was. I don't know how, like, I don't know what the angle was, but I went for years. People knew who I was. People knew me. I was there all the time. I worked there. I went up. I had a sweet spot. Basically, they do friends and family. They do the open mic, and then they do friends and family, and then they turn off the lights, and then they do paid regulars. So when you work there, you get your job there, and you're in friends and family. So you get a little bit better of a spot. It's after the open mic. There's a little more crowd, and then as that goes on, that basically transitions into the real show at a very specific moment. Yeah, right. So I was the guy that was right before that transition. I was always the last guy, and then I didn't do the 3 minutes. I did 10 minutes. Nobody else did that. It was a weird spot that Tommy gave me. So Tommy, like, he helped me in a lot of ways, but then he would tell me stuff like, "Oh, Mitzi doesn't like big guys. Mitzi, you scare Mitzi. Mitzi's seen you. I only ran in with Mitzi like 2 or 3 times. I had a couple run-ins with her when I was working the back door a few times, and when I was in the main room one time. She really, if she knew who I was, if she didn't look like she was when she was really sick, she was out of it. And it seemed like to me every time I interacted with her, she was very out of it. So I think that was Tommy's. He was putting that in my brain.
There's just some weird manipulation that he's doing. One of those people.
What had happened with me, so months and months were going by, and people were starting to question why I wasn't a paid regular. And so I would hear it from guys. Ari Shafir one day yelled it from the stage. After Ari got me off, brought me off one day, and then the first thing he said was, "Why isn't Alex a paid regular?" Yelled it to Tommy. Then a couple other people started to say it, and then I got a call on Christmas Eve in 2010. And they were like, "Oh yeah, you're Tommy." It was Tommy, and he was like, "Hey, they made you a paid regular. Mitzi made you a paid regular, or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, it was really exciting, a real accomplishment, for a comic." But I heard the rumor that the only reason was everybody was going to be pissed. He made Neil Brennan paid regular at the same time, and a lot of people were going to be mad that Neil Brennan was going to be a paid regular when he had just started coming around a couple months earlier than that. And so I think that I would have been in this purgatory forever had there not been the other guys saying shit for me. Mm-hmm. He would have kept me in that spot and let me just get to be 45 years old and never make paid regular there and just stay at the back door and, weird manipulation. But
dude, I got like Tommy loved me as far as mind fuckery, man. Like, I mean, that dude washed his nuts with me, man. Like, I'll tell you what, man. Like, Tommy would build me up, and he would smoke weed with me, his weed. Sometimes it was mine, but it was just him and I. And then one day he yelled at me because I smoked too much weed, and I'm like, "It's your weed." Like, what are we talking about? And then Tommy was flirting with me about making me a regular, and got to get you up in front of Polly. Polly's got to see you, which turns out to be bullshit. Tommy was pulling all the strings.
Oh, yeah.
And so one night, man, it's like 1 a.m. There's 8 motherfuckers from around the world, and I weaved a web, man. I connected big time. Felt really good about it. got off stage. Tommy comes over to tell me how great it was. And I say, why the fuck won't you pass me? And then he went off on this tirade about Jamie Kennedy. Jamie Kennedy comes in here and he's not good and I'm not passing him either. And I'm like, I'm not talking about Jamie Kennedy. Because the thing is like, I was a little bit different because a lot of people out there are trying to work the road. Like their dream is to like, I hope to work the road. I just can't wait to work the road. Well, I was already working the fucking road and I'm going to the Comedy Store to try and get to the next level in a different way. And so, you know, and meanwhile, I'm hanging out with Alex. I'm hanging out with Brody Stevens and Don Barris. Like everybody there, like nobody hated me or any of that shit. Like it's a place where you either fit in or you don't. And one night, Tommy's like, I would pass you, but you're just outside the wheel. You're outside the wheel. And I'm thinking, Benji just invited me on a camping trip. David Taylor just invited me over to his house for fucking Thanksgiving. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Where's the wheel? You know, and when I was like I had driven my car to LA and I left it at the airport in a parking lot that I just paid this dude $40 a month cash. And then I would ride a shuttle bus for a different parking lot and pretend I was going there because there wasn't a shuttle for the shithole that I'm parking at. And I'd run over to my car. But anyway, Alex and I had made a decision that like Alex was coming back east because Ralphie May was on his nuts about you need to go back east. You need to go east. and Alex was like, well, fuck it, man. You should open for me. And I'm like, cool. So I ship my car home. I go and I tell Tommy, I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to just go on the road with Alex. And he said, your journey's not done here. And it's like, well, no shit, man. Like I make that decision, not you. And that's where Roddy Piper, like I got to the point where I was a friend or family or whatever the fuck, but that don't mean anything. And then also like the way that the potluck works there is the stronger you are, the later in the show you go. And I started, and then back then it was Sundays and Mondays. So when I was in town every Sunday and every Monday, I'm getting the 15 spot, which is the last spot before the show opens. And I didn't even know at the time that it was Alex put me there. Found that out way later. Cause also I think when you're the guy making the list, you don't fucking tell anybody. So it's,
but then Tommy would tell people. So Tommy would tell people if he was getting bothered by someone, he would say, oh, it's Alex that makes the list. And then I'd get hit up. I had a lot of run-ins with people, like the different half-cocked comics that wanted to give me shit about not getting up, some really bad comics. I mean, really, really bad that I never gave a spot to, They were nice guys. The worst thing a comic can say about another comic is that he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
If you ever hear yourself referred to as being a nice guy, man, you just got to stop doing stand. Open up a comedy club.
Yeah,
because it's not a good thing to be called a nice guy. There's a lot of nice guys in the comedy world, that aren't funny, and they get really hurt when you tell them straight up that you're not going to put them on the show if they don't fit in, and that happened a lot, And that's what Tommy would do that too. Tommy would do this. For the most part, people didn't know that I did it, and then
people didn't know that it was you making the list, and
right.
then Tommy would tell them that you were the one
but
that.
Yeah, dude.
Only if they had fucked with him enough to where he was tired of it, and he would send them.
I was already getting a 15 spot both nights for months, and then one day Tommy was like, it's Alex that's doing that.
Yeah,
and I was like,
Did Tommy sound like Pauly Shore?
He sounded like a fucking...
He's got a real strange voice, man.
He does.
He's got a real...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, Tommy used to do weird shit to me, like...
Would you call him the bridge troll? Is he a gatekeeper?
He was definitely a gatekeeper.
Tommy sounds like he could be a detective in a kid's show.
Detective in a kid's show.
Like, if you can imagine a detective, like, if you're going to find out who stole the Christmas tree... Tommy could be the voice of Tommy could be like the guy that's like the hound dog that wears the overcoat, and that could be it.
Yeah, Tommy used to tell me shit about Mitzi. Like it was a really weird thing that Tommy would do to me, man. I think looking back on it, like I used to like writing jokes in the main room, sitting on a stage when it's all black in the room, And then I also, like, if there was a show going on in the main room and nothing going on in the belly room, I would go sit on the stairs and write jokes. And I guess one night Tommy was upstairs and I didn't even know it, man. And I'm sitting there writing a joke. And then later he was like, "You are eavesdropping on me." And I was like, "What are you talking?" Like, it was just so fucking crazy. Like, what are you even talking about, man?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. And then turns out he was, I guess stealing from the place. And
I've heard a lot of stories. I don't know what the actual.
Me neither.
I've heard marked bills.
Something.
I've heard they caught him with marked bills. Who knows, man? He's down in Roatan.
Yeah,
singing in bars in Roatan.
Yeah, which is really weird.
Living his best life, man.
Which is really weird because he likes photos of my kid on Facebook, man.
I don't hate Tommy. Like, I'm not one of those guys that dislikes Tommy. I just kind of watched it from a distance. Like, well, I never worried about. I never worry about what other people are doing. I didn't care. I tried not to get involved in what other people. It's what led me away from hanging out in the front patio of the Comedy Store. It's what made me sit in the back and keep my circle tight. Because I really don't give a fuck about what you're doing. I want to hang out with you. I was there for a reason,
Yeah.
Not anything else.
Dude, you know how many hours
kind of like jail. You're not there to make friends.
That's right, man. You're not, man.
Like one night, Tony Hinchcliffe told me that I was a comedy Jedi, and I just go from fucking place to place, just murdering. And then, like, now, the biggest podcast in the world, fucking, it's just crazy, But I was on the outside of the wheel, my friend.
My buddy Mumford, who does comedy, who's going to be on my show tonight, was on Kill Tony before.
I'm sorry for that, man. That's a fucking mistake.
He did really good.
That doesn't matter, man.
Good,
it doesn't matter. I don't want to. Hinchcliffe used to do that, and it used to be way worse, man. He's, like, actually nice about it now. Hinchcliffe will look through your soul and rip it out of you. if you're not funny in front of, and that's probably how that shit was even born, man. Like, if you're not funny, Hinchcliffe will fucking destroy you, and he did it every time he hosted, man. Every time he hosted, it would be brutal, man. You're watching a guy do the worst he's ever done. He's been hoping to get up for weeks. He's up. He's fucking bombing. He's eating shit, and he's from out of state, and then Tony just fucking will put you over his knee and break you. Like, even outside smoking cigarettes, Tony's telling people, "Hey, man, it's almost dark. You're not allowed to be here anymore." And they're like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, you're a daylight comic." But he was right. Like, it wasn't like he was even wrong, So it's
a daylight comic. That's like the
you're a daylight comic. Yeah. You're only allowed to be here at daylight.
It's because it's true. There's those people that are there. There's the Comedy Store could be a really, really, really magical place if you could get rid of all the people who don't belong there.
Right. It's true.
There's a lot of people there that don't belong. And there's a lot of people that came and went that should have stayed that didn't. And it's because of those people. Those people they filled up the roles. They filled up the roles of the open mic, and you were never able to get in, so you just moved on.
It makes me wonder where Andrew Schultz worked out.
New York City, I think.
I mean, that dude is like a store comic and a half.
Yeah, he is.
But it's not. Very few comedy videos I watch.
Love Andrew Schultz.
Andrew Schultz is fucking wonderful, man.
Who are some of y'all's favorite comics that inspired you? I mean, when you were younger.
I started. Well, my first memory of stand-up comedy is being like 7 years old and listening to America's Nigger, the Richard Pryor.
Oh, they just pulled us off of Facebook.
Yeah.
8-track album.
Bicentennial?
Bicentennial, that's what it was. Bicentennial Nigga. That was my first introduction to stand up. And
it's a really good introduction.
I snuck out into my brother's Gran Torino. My brother had the 8-track, and I listened to it I can remember sitting. I can remember. And then I kind of grew. I always was turned that way. I was always doing that stuff. And then I think that the next time I can remember stand-up being something was Stephen Wright. Like when I was like 12 or something, came to town, and I I wanted to go see Stephen Wright really bad, and I ended up going by myself. To see Stephen.
That's cool.
At the Funny Bone. Went to see Stephen Wright because it was a clean show.
Wow.
And that was my first two real things, and then I knew after seeing Stephen Wright that that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah, with me it was as like I had three sisters and myself and what's up, man? I had three sisters and myself, and we used to watch any comedy that was on TV, like any stand up, and there used to be a lot of it, like it. Evening at the Improv, there was Comic Spotlight, there was fucking, and then
MTV half-hour comedy hour, A&E's Evening at the Improv. There's so many of them, man.
So many, and but then at night I would sneak up, and I was a little kid, and I would watch Johnny Carson, at least the beginning monologue, and I didn't know that I wanted to tell jokes until later. Later, that dawned on me, but. At the time, I just consumed it, and then you going through high school, all my friends would quote movies, and I never understood that. Like as far as come up with your own shit, dude. I don't need to hear your, that's what she said. That's. But as far as influences are concerned, man, I love Mitch Hedberg. I think Steve Martin was a wizard. If you listen to any of his CDs, they're great. Even Woody Allen, even though he's a pedophile, his old stand-up's fucking really good.
He's not just a pedophile, man. He's a pedophile with a black belt.
He's a black belt pedophile.
Next level.
You import him in and then you marry him later. The trifecta.
You adopt them.
Adopt them,
fuck
them, marry them.
Talk about grooming.
That's grooming to the
Chris D'Elia wishes.
Chris D'Elia didn't do any of that shit, man. Chris D'Elia's pussy falling off the fucking rafters.
Wow, dude, that dude doesn't even need to do anything like that.
Dude, it's so it's ridiculous. How much pussy Chris D'Elia gets. There's no reason.
He can walk out on the patio and go, "You and you, let's go."
I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it. That dude.
You guys you did stand up with him, both of you?
Oh yeah. I was around when Chris first started coming around, man. That dude could slay pussy. It doesn't matter. Even if he didn't do stand up.
Yeah.
Just who he is, because who his dad is. He was in a movie when he was 14 or 15 years old. His dad's the head of casting for NBC.
Oh wow!
All right, yeah. Chris did a movie at 14 or 15. He was a lead in a movie. He didn't need stand up, man. He came to stand up, and he was
stand up was probably a suggestion.
Yeah.
You want to get an acting, you want to get a reel.
Yeah.
You should go do stand up.
But no, dude, that dude doesn't have to fucking. I don't buy any of that stuff, but I think it's just cancel culture in general.
It's bullshit.
And I'm not saying that because I'm.
It was a poor joke, and I should know my audience that you.
Yeah, because I'm not Chris's boy by any means. I mean, we passed in the hallway, and I talked to him a few times, but we were I have to tell you that I was kind of territorial over the Comedy Store when Chris came, so. I didn't have a great deal of love for him anyway. I didn't hate him anyway, but I can just tell you that dude has pussy. That dude has pussy flying to him flying at him like bats out of a cave, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to fucking he doesn't have to troll the internet.
No.
They come to him live.
That's in every city that he goes to.
Yeah, man.
That's like saying Pauly Shore was a kid toucher back when he was big. That's just crazy. There's a chick that I used to stay with when I was going out to LA, and she was there one night to see me, and then D'Elia walks out and he was like, "Hey, are you here for me?" And she said no, but that's all he had to do. Mm-hmm. She would have went home and she didn't say it, but she would have went home with him if I wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Of course she would have.
So it's such a bizarro world thing, you know. When Paulie was in his heyday, I've spent a lot of time with his tour manager Warlock, and Warlock told me a lot of Paulie stories, and that dude was an animal when it came to the chicks too.
Paulie's had to have back surgery because of how much fucking he's done.
That's real.
He's had to have back surgery. He's got shit fused together because of fucking.
Dude, he used to tell Warlock to throw out the nug pole. And that meant go get me some fucking pussy. And I'm talking 9 chicks a day.
Yeah.
He would literally go through the lines to go see him and pick and bring them, and then Warlock would get whatever he didn't say okay with. Yeah, yeah. Like and that shit. Like I opened for Paulie here in Arlington, and it was the same.
I've heard stories. Now I know who this is. I'm not going to say their name, but they got some expense. They were in Vegas. They got some expensive ass call girls. They got them up to the room. They did their thing, and then they paid the girls, and then they waited for a minute, and then they stole their girls' purses and kicked them out into the hallway, and then took their money back, and then threw their purses out into the hallway, and then called security, got them. There's some fun shit. A Dice story. This is one time Dice. And I forget who it was. Whoever was on the road, and I don't know if it was PJ or if it was Rick Ingram, but Dice wanted an ice cream sundae. He had a per diem of so much money with room service, so he wanted an ice cream sundae. So he knocks on whoever, I can't remember who told me the story, but they knocks on their door, and then he goes, "Hey, do you want an ice cream sundae?" And he had a whole room service cart that was loaded with ice cream sundaes. They each ate one, and they pushed the ice cream sundaes out into the hallway and let them melt in the hallway. So there's some. Dice couldn't go. I think his tour, they wouldn't allow him to go near Vegas because he snuck out one time, got on a plane, went to Vegas, and lost in a private poker game. Lost like $1 million or something. He had a little bit of a poker issue.
So his managers wouldn't let him go to Vegas?
They would bring him in through the back after that, anytime you go they'd take him through the back and they'd isolate him from stuff.
Keep him away from all the bells and whistles.
Yeah. There's a lot of good tour stories. There's a lot of good stuff like that happens. Not to say good, but
fun rock star comedy stories.
Yeah.
That's what people think it is. Like, I guess it is when you're on that level, man. But when you're fucking just working the road, beating the pavement, it's a fucking lonely thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you're in a, like, you open this with, where do you jack off in a hotel room? And the thing is if you've been enough on the road, you find weird places. Like, I've legitimately shot a wad into one of the safes in the fucking hotel room just because of fucking boredom, man. Like, it's
yeah, I think being an LA, a popular LA based stand up comic is better than being a road comic any day of the week. Like,
it is.
I think if you had money and you could just live in LA and be a comic at the various clubs, but not have to work a day job, that's just your night thing, you could have a lot of fun. I could have a lot of fun. I'd be dead. I'd already be dead anyway if I was still in LA, but
when'd you leave?
2011.
That was when you came back east to do the tour, and you asked Kerns to come?
Yeah, Ralphie May had told me, I went up to Ralphie's for like, I don't know if it was like Memorial Day or something. It was some kind of picnic.
How close were you guys?
Pretty close. I mean, not like best friends or anything like that, but his wife, Lana, liked me, and so she had started talking to me after my sets at the store, and then she is the one that invited me to come up and meet with Ralphie, and then I met him, and we ended up talking a lot, like after sets and stuff like that. So, but we were up there, and he said, "Yeah," he said, "You got to go east, man." He said, "You got to go get a fan base out east." He said, "I'll hook you up with the different," he said, "the comedy zones, and I'll hook you up with the clubs out here." And so,
the Funny Bones.
And then I did, man. And then I got out here, and it was before the blow up of stand up. So, like, the roast battle hadn't started popping off yet. Nothing was really popping off. The Comedy Store.
Yeah, that's the part that sucks. Is like Brian Moses is in my phone. Tony Hinchcliffe is in my phone. Like Brody Stevens killing himself, like, actually affected me personally on the inside.
Yeah.
You know, like, but
like,
none
really,
of that.
really, Angelo Bauer's dying is what set the comedy world off. Is what brought stand up back.
Nobody will know that.
Angelo Bauer's died for the comedy's sins, in my opinion.
Yeah. Weirdly.
Because him dying and then the attention that his death got is what got people into the clubs to look at the new talent of the new comics.
Just to explain Angelo. Angelo was a phenomenal joke writer.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And he had new ones. Like, been to basically in LA, man. You hit as many mics as you can in a night, and then you go spend the rest of the night at the store watching and hanging out, or at least that's how I handle it. So I've been at a million open mics with Angelo and book shows too. The dude was an amazing writer. He had a new joke for everything. It was in between shows. The dude would have a new one that hit. And he was riding with a friend of ours, Josh Adam Myers, in a Jeep, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And got hit, T-boned. Angelo died, and then
Angelo's last words were like, "The fuck is this faggot doing?" or something. And as they were getting hit by the drunk driver,
yeah,
speeding. So
yeah, and then like that did. I mean, Josh Adam Myers ended up getting a show on Comedy Central.
That was the beginning. No, Angelo's death was the beginning of what you now know as the boom of comedy. It was Angelo dying, because after Angelo died, the L.A. Weekly and everyone got in on it.
Yeah, Gerard got his love.
And all of a sudden, the people came to the Comedy Store again, and to see what the hype was about, to see what, and then you had this overflowing cauldron of talent. Unseen, undiscovered talent. You had all these people doing all these things, and it just kind of went, oh fuck, everybody. Gerard, I mean, you name it. Roast Battle, Tony's has everything.
Goddamn Comedy Jam.
Yeah, everything came.
I guess they called that Comedy Jam. They didn't. They took out the
cut out the goddamn part. But yeah, it really was Angelo. Angelo died for stand-up comedy. He did, and everything now, even the interest of people in stand-up comedy to this day is based. For me, I think a large part is off of Angelo.
Not even knowing it.
Not even. Yeah. I don't think that stand-up would be anything like it is, or like I can't say is now, because I think that it's kind of.
Well, in the thing, I think that the thing that happened with Angelo dying too was Angelo gave every person he came in contact with a hug. Yeah. If he knew you, he hugged you. And then you watched a weird thing happen after he died. Everybody hugged.
Yeah.
It's yeah, he definitely, and the sad part is nobody will ever know who he was, or and they would have. Like that's Angelo was going to break through, I think. I mean, and if it wasn't on a I'm a professional comedian status, it would have been he writes for something huge that everybody watches. Dude was a writer. He's real good. I mean, I think you probably see some of his work through Whitney Cummings.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she was fucking him over hard. Like, she was like, I'll pay you. And he kept writing her jokes. She kept taking them and then not paying him.
It's stand-up, like that's... But, yeah, a lot of people have, I think, used Angelo to write some stuff that they probably still use today.
Yeah.
I mean, his jokes, there's like a page for him that tells for all of his jokes. And they're still good today, man. Like, yeah. I could quote you off some right now, but I don't do that. But, yeah, man. He definitely did. He died for comedy. He died and made comedy happen.
Not for me,
Yeah. I was already gone. Still sad, though. And then Brody, Brody dying was in itself a tragedy, too, man. Brody was probably one of the funniest dudes that anybody's ever known, period. Down on himself all the time.
All the time,
like
man.
His whole thing was being down. But that dude was, in terms of just off the cuff, without trying to be funny, fucking hilarious.
And the problem with Brody is it didn't translate on camera. But if you were in the room, like that dude would take a dead ass room and walk through it with a tambourine and play it in people's faces and yell, "Come on, yes, enjoy it!"
Yeah.
And he'd be going crazy. And if you're in the room, man, it was electrifying. You'll watch it on TV or on one of his specials. You're like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?"
Didn't make sense.
And that was the genius of him, I think.
One night with Brody was pulling into the parking lot. I was walking up the parking lot, and it's kind of like a ramp up here, and then there's this wall. And I was walking, almost made my way around the corner, and Brody comes screeching in like his mom's Toyota, I forget what it was.
Toyota Avalon.
It was an Avalon.
2006.
He came
yes.
rolling in this Avalon, man. And it was playing, he was playing Elton John's Saturday Night Is All Right for Fighting or whatever. Loud as hell, man. Screeches to a stop. Don Barris sees him, Don Barris comes running over like mad, like throws down his hat, like, oh, you want to. And they create this scene, this like 50s fight scene, while Saturday Night Is All Right is playing loud as fuck on the Avalon. The cars in park, they're circling each other like they're gonna fight. A waitress comes out holding they do a dance. It was all improvisational, and it was over in like 30 seconds, but it was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. The crowd's freaking out. The crowd thinks that it is. That's what, if you know the store brings the audience in to not just what's on the stage, but a lot of times into like what's going on in the back. Like if we're out on if we're out on Sunset throwing oranges at the House of Blues, the crowd that's there, they're watching us. You know, they're watching that kind
right.
of. So sometimes that kind of shit was really fun.
It's like a Gonzo experience.
Too.
It's like a Hunter S. Thompson kind of. You're really in it.
I mean,
you're very in the culture right now.
Yeah.
You're in the locker room.
One night I was. They did this dumbass Santa run thing, and it ended at the store where they did a show for
all the
like
snowballs.
500 Santas, and they brought in all this fake snow, man, which is not a good idea.
On the front of the store.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
And Paul Mooney was there that night, and like I'm like I gotta go check out Paul Mooney, man. And I can see, like, I had already thrown a couple of snowballs myself, but I'm like I live on the East Coast, man. I don't care about snowballs. So I go in to watch Paul Mooney, and you can just see the fucking snowballs going across Sunset. And Paul Mooney, like, he's like, he just turned to the window and looked at it, and he said, "White people." And it was like such a well timed thing, man. Like I was like, wow, that was well timed. White people.
I heard that in Paul Mooney's voice.
Yeah. Like you know, and that's the cool part about it. Like people. There's some suckers out there that end up paying for comedy classes and think that helps them and shit. Like if you really want to learn comedy, just go hang out there, and you'll literally meet everybody.
Yeah.
And where people fuck up the most, I think, is they talk. When you're not the biggest dick in the room, you keep your fucking mouth shut. You know, until they see you and respect you, you don't fucking interrupt them when they're talking. Like. Leslie Jones one night, which she wasn't on SNL yet or any of that shit, but one night she told me, she's like, "Motherfucker, you would win Survivor." And I was like, "Why is that?" And she was like, "Cause you just quiet." Well, that was planned. Like if it was just me and Leslie, I would talk to her, but if the room got bigger, you respect it. Yeah. And what'll happen is a younger guy will come in and they won't respect it, and they'll think they got something to say, and they'll step on. They're in here stepping on people, and then they leave the room and they're like, "Who the fuck was that?" Yeah. And they never want anything to do with them again. Yep. And so that's really where I think a lot of people go wrong going in there. It's you're trying to show off. Like I never drank one beer at the store, man. Not one shot of liquor, not one. And that's just because you don't shit where you eat. And a lot of people go wrong with that too. They get way drunk and they're yelling about why am I not passed, and they look dumb, man.
Shit, I do coke behind the stairwell, man.
yeah, but that's you, man. I wasn't like coke is different. I bet I would have been really a funny guy on some cocaine, man.
Yeah.
Like, never done coke, but yeah, it's wherever you do coke in the place, everywhere is probably covered in cocaine in that place, man.
Well, yeah, the table has the piano table in the main room has lines scratched in it from all the coke that's been done.
Yep.
There's stories about Red Fox coming in with a jar of coke and then taking the
like
whole
a mason jar
of coke and dumping it on the table and said, "This is mine. You know, you get your own." So, yeah.
How'd you guys wind up in Fredericksburg?
That's weird.
Are you from Virginia, Alex?
No, I'm not. I moved from Maine to California. I'm not really from anywhere. My family is nomadic, man. My family, we lived all. I was born in Nevada, and my dad was in the Navy, and but I lived in Maine before I went to California, so I had no link to Virginia. I've driven through a couple times, you know.
So your link to Virginia is
basically Brian was here, and then the Comedy Zone is they're all based out of North Carolina, so so it was a safe middle ground, they're good employment or whatever.
Right.
So came here and it's been awesome every day since.
FXBG, man.
No, yeah, but we came here basically just gonna make this home base while going out on the road, and then it just didn't work out. Like we started we were like, okay, well, we're gonna start a little film studio, and we did, and we rented a place, and we did green screens and did all that stuff, and
sound rooms.
Yeah, did all that stuff, and then we had a dance studio move in beside us, and we couldn't ever film anything. We couldn't ever do anything because they were always playing music so loud that it could hear it through the walls.
Then the one song that they played the most was "You Better Work." What? You better work. What? Which I swear to God, fucking brainwashed us, man. Because the third one of us is a master plumber, so we started a plumbing company.
Yeah.
Because we were like, how the fuck are we gonna pay for this place? And plumbing was supposed to start out as it was gonna fund comedy.
Yeah.
But then it turned into owning us, I guess.
Well, we fast forward a little. We were promoting our own shows all over the place.
That's the only way to do it.
Renting theaters, and that's really the only way to do it. And we had some good luck with it, and we had some some bad luck. But at the same time, like you could if you were going to go out and do that instead of working for someone, you're better off promoting your own shows, renting your own theater, doing your own advertising, and doing the legwork. Because we could sell out 2 shows a night in some in places. And then other places we'd have nobody come because, for whatever reason we were in the wrong place. But yeah, and then that's what led to the film studio. And then that's where we learned that it was more beneficial for us to do plumbing.
Yeah.
And now you're selling Bacon Bros air-dried beef.
Yeah, that's it.
Find it at 7-Eleven on Levels Road.
Yeah.
And
Sitco on Route 1, Stafford. We got a big reach with that.
This stuff is delicious, though.
Yeah.
That's a huge reach. No, the thing is that when I'll just go back to Comedy Store being comedy college, it's really business college too in a lot of ways. Like a lot of the things that you have in comedy, like you don't steal. You don't fucking do it. Parallel thought is one thing, but even then, you see somebody else doing it, you fucking stop if you have any integrity. Whether you wrote it yourself or not, you hear somebody else do it, you know that they didn't steal it from you, you fucking stop. So a lot of the things about marketing and about persistent, like everything is in life is persistence and tenacity. It's how many times you get up, not how many times you fall. Mm-hmm. And you learn that the hardest in stand up, man. Like for real. Like just go ahead and go out to Seattle and do the 7, the 9, and the 11 show, and you just crush at the 7 show, and you fucking destroyed at the 9 show, and then the 10 show. There's 15 fucking bachelorette bitches that you can't. They're like whack-a-mole trying to shut them the fuck up. So you can't even get through anything that you're doing, and that's the thing. Is like that's what's great about stand up is it's always different. It's always different.
And one of the most fun nights that I've had this year was when we had like a big group like that, rowdy as fuck at Central Station, and I couldn't do any of my material, so I just crowd worked and fucked with them the whole time. And that's really channeled my inner Kerns.
Yeah. That's nah, man. You Bill, I used to just be a straight joke guy, like no gay jokes. No, I used to only tell jokes, man. And, and then
you get too rigid like that.
Well, no, I went to the store and realized that that's not what it is, man. And I read Bill Hicks's Principles to Comedy, and jokes are what you're supposed to tell when you have nothing else to say. So I started doing that, and I found out that it's funner to ride the fucking wave. So even it's way more enjoyable to me. Like one night, dude, we did a show and the cop who found Bobbitt's penis was there.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was probably the best set I'll ever have in my whole fucking life. I got to crowd work the guy that found bob its penis, man.
God, that's awesome.
And
which you wouldn't have happened if you didn't crowd work in the first place and engage with the audience.
That was a really good show.
Yeah, man.
So were you the one that mined him for that piece of information?
Yeah,
or another comic.
I'm the miner. Alex is a storyteller. Jono's more of a jokey storyteller type too.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who goes out there and fishes, and sometimes
fuck what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Did you perform with Joey Diaz? Joey Diaz probably like one of my
Joey
favorite
used to
storytellers.
host the open mic. Joe used to host the open mic at the Comedy Store. I've known Joey forever, man. Me and Joey were on My Name Is Earl together.
Okay, cool.
Joey's been around. Joey's always a good storyteller. Like that's what he tells the old school neighborhood stories. So,
yeah.
I wouldn't say that I'm similar, but I don't do those kind of stories. I'm an odd guy, so I talk about odd things a lot of times, and I may take you in a place that you didn't know you were going to go, and maybe you'll follow, and sometimes people don't, but most of the time people did, so it's all good.
I feel like storytelling is hard, man. Storytelling is really...
It's hard because you need silence.
Mm-hmm.
You need silence.
Well, and you need the attentiveness of the crowd, and we
Yeah.
live in this day and age of fucking TikTok videos where everyone's got a 10-second attention
right.
span.
That's why, like, if we were working a bar show, I'm the winner of who, and then they ain't even fucking hearing Alex at all. But then in a theater, man, I'm getting fucking worked. Because they're attentive, and it's just all about, and that's what you find is that with renting out your theaters and producing your own thing, is you are able to control it more. Mm-hmm. You add value by making them pay $20 to get in, even $10.
Right.
The problem with like a lot of shit was free.
They got no skin in the game.
No skin in the game. I would rather have 8 motherfuckers or 13 motherfuckers that pay $20 than 80 people that didn't pay at all.
Absolutely.
You'll spend your whole time just trying to get them to shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
And too many times you run into somebody who will not, like, dude, one time Alex and I were doing a show, and this guy, like, Alex was before me, and this guy would not stop, man. And it got to the point where, and the dude's just hammered. And it got to the point where when I got on stage, Alex was literally sitting at the table drinking beer with this dude.
To get him to shut the fuck up.
Didn't work, man. It got to the point where, like, I kept hitting him down, didn't matter. Got to the point where I started turning away from him, not even looking at him. Dude would get up from the table and moved. And it got to the point where I was like, dude, did you not have a dad growing up? And the guy was like, looked at me shocked and was like, how'd you know that? And it's like... Well, look at what you're doing, man. So, yeah, it's a fucking mixed bag of shit. Like, some of it's great, some of it's not. It's
right.
It's anything else, you know.
What advice do you have for me and for other comedians, Kerns? Because you used to always give me a lot of stage advice. You really pushed me to go to the Comedy Store. You were pushing hard for me to do that. Adam Dodd has pushed me to do that too.
Yeah, Dodd's a pussy, man. Dodd's a fucking pussy, man.
Why do you say that?
Dodd should have gone to the Comedy Store, man.
Yeah, he wouldn't perform there.
Yeah,
he wouldn't perform. Yeah. Dodd spent a lot of his time saying he was in L.A., but he was here. And then we would go do shows, and then I was actually out in L.A., and I'll be back here, and they would introduce him like he was there, and he wasn't. So Dodd was a lot of smoke and mirrors, and good dude, man, a nice guy. But yeah, anyway. No, you go there to watch. You go there to learn, to get in on the mix.
You still say go to Comedy Store?
No, fuck no. Whatever opens up in Texas. See what Rogan does.
Yeah, see where Rogan opens up. Because if he opens up a club,
be there.
That's going to be the club.
Where everybody, if you're young, you should move there.
Yeah.
And because
Austin. Go to Austin and learn what's funny there. Because that's where everybody went. That's where all the players are going. They're going to Austin.
Yeah, like the store is gonna die, man, but somebody's gonna rebuild it, and it's not gonna be the same building. But and I'm not even saying it depends on if they let it die. I don't know. I know that they're sitting on a $90 million piece of property.
I don't think it's gonna die. I think it's gonna become. Well, it's whatever happens to California. So nobody knows what's gonna happen to fucking California. You look at you can kind of speculate all you want, but they may never come back to normal in terms of capacity and being
Yeah.
able to seat people.
Right. Yeah.
And part of stand up is is how intimate it is.
The energy.
The best stand up shows are the ones where you are uncomfortably close to someone else.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes.
So
It was like a ripple effect with
absolutely,
laughter.
man.
Yeah, man, it's contagious.
You
That's
give me a
not lie.
room, give me a tight room where people are so close to each other they're basically sitting on each other's laps. Turn the lights off, all completely off. Only a spotlight. Give me good sound where you can hear the liquid in the corners of my mouth when I open my mouth. When you can hear that over the speakers, I know the sound is right, and that will be an awesome show for me. That's for how for when I'm thinking about how it works. That's what stand up is good. So nobody really knows what's going to happen to anything. The store is just another California place, you know. But looking at in terms of what I would think it would be if everything was going to go back to normal, I would think that the Comedy Store will just continue to get more corporate to the point where it's not.
It's already starting that.
It's already going down that road. It's already not the hangout
It's going to be
place
the content
that it
restriction
was.
store.
Right.
Yeah, because dude,
yeah.
I used to smoke weed with Don and Mary Jane and fucking Tony and
we
the
used to
woman's
smoke
room.
weed,
Man.
unlimited amounts of weed. Like I used to grow weed, and I would bring a quarter ounce or whatever with me when I would come every night. My friends would come with a quarter ounce of weed. We would literally smoke so much weed a night that the whole place smelled like weed. The whole place. You could walk down the hall. One time I sat down next to Chris Rock, and Chris was always cool with me, man. I sat down next to Chris, and he sat up and he looked at me and he went, "Whoo," like this, you know, it's because we stunk. We made the place stink. You know, you smoke weed in the main room, just in like
Yeah, you literally walk through
like,
one door.
Yeah,
you're in the main room. There's no main room show going on, and you're smoking at whatever table you choose.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So it's different now. Now, if you smoke weed in there, you know, even if you're in the main room, green room, and you light up joints, you'll pass it, and people will hit it one time, and then it comes back to you, and you go to pass it, and they're like, "Oh no." It's a different world now. We used to. I mean, I can't tell you the stories of the things that I've seen there because I would have to name names to, but.
And there's a certain fraternity about being at the.
Yeah, it's not.
the Vegas rules.
It's not the same anymore. It's very clean. It's cleaned up a lot.
Yeah, because we went out there in March.
Yeah,
and we're sitting there.
Oh, you guys did go out there
Yeah.
March before the shutdown happened.
Yeah, like right as it was happening.
It was happening. I think that I got COVID-19 there while I was there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sick as fuck.
Was that y'all's purpose? Was to go out there and just kind of visit the people, see old friends?
We were doing this stuff.
There's
Bacon
a
brothers,
there's
Bacon
a
bros.
there's a venture capitalist that was talking about making us a incubator brand of Hickory Farms. So we went out there to meet that dude. But then of course you know you're in LA, you go to the store.
Yeah.
And but it was definitely different because we used to. I mean the amount of weed was obscene, and this time we were the only ones that had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was really
weird.
bizarre.
It's really weird. So it's changed in that respect. It used to be Party Central. Used to be you could make a quick order and somebody would run up the hill real quick and come back with an 8-ball, and you could pull some people out of the crowd and go into the main room dressing room with some chicks and blow through it in 5 minutes, man, and then go about your day. You know, order a big pizza and It's not like that
How
anymore.
you would order a big pizza after blowing through an 8-ball of cocaine.
Dude, once you do enough coke, you can eat.
That's true.
Yeah, you can just eat like normal. It
You
doesn't
get
affect
immune
your.
to that.
I'm one of those guys. What I would do normally is not a cocaine story. What I would do normally is I'd get to the store real early, and I would write and smoke weed. And then I'd go down and have a steak at Saddle Ranch, and then I'd come back and and then I'd still be smoking weed, and then I'd end up eating again. Eating weed ice cream or whatever. We had weed ice cream in the freezer there. The Comedy Store was a different place, but whatever Joe opens up is going to be good. It's going to be good. And it's not just going to be good for.
It's going to be good for growth.
It's going to be good for comedy. It's going to be good for comedians because his attitude towards comedy is sacred to him.
It's right on, man. Like Joe Rogan is like a warrior for it.
Yeah.
And he's like the only one.
And that's really what I think. And I think a different approach
if he doesn't
has
get
to be
canceled.
taken to stand up. Now that Brian and I have been in other businesses and we got our living comes from other stuff, I've got a different idea of what I believe stand up should be. I don't think you should look at stand up in a way to make money or do anything else. I believe it's got to be a real thing from you. It's got to be the real thing that you do, not money related. And like I'm still the same guy.
It has to be like part of your fucking soul.
It has to be part of you.
Yeah, something you're bonded with.
I talk in my voice. I'm the same. I joke the same way whether I'm on stage or not. It doesn't matter. And if I was to ever get back into stand up, which I wouldn't even say that I'm not going to get back into it, it will not be for money. It will be completely a free. I don't give a fuck about money.
Well, and that's
the best way.
Let me book you for a few shows then, Alex.
I'll come do them, man.
Dude, I would love to have you guys on the show once things kind of even back out. I know that you're...
Yeah, if they even out, man. I'm the only one that's really been kicking the can down the road,
Yeah.
And, it's...
I got a new act that I'm doing. It's a new act that I want to try, and because I think that you've got to navigate the waters carefully nowadays with your set, and I think it's got to change.
But it's also like Kerns talked about in the group chat recently, is you have to endear yourself to the audience first before you just
you have to connect.
Pulling out the crazy
you have to connect,
shit.
and that's the thing is like I can get away with saying a lot of shit to a lot of people that's fucking foul and offensive and fucked up, and they laugh at it because I've already shit all over myself.
Right.
There's already been
self-deprecation is like one of the best comedy tools. It disarms the audience.
Absolutely.
It lowers expectations, and yeah, like you said. You right?
Yeah, I'm good. My wife has a kid that's probably mine. She's just texting me.
Probably yours. Never got the DNA test.
60% chance of, maybe.
If the kid grows up to be 6'7", it might be Alex.
She looks just like me, man. I feel bad for her. She's gonna be a hot chick, dude, one day.
How do you guys both know the wizard over here of FXBG Public Radio?
Are you talking about EK the DJ?
Yeah, because I moved in here, and it's been a weird happening since I moved in here of like correlations and synchronicities that have happened. It's like, man, I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. The first night that I moved in, I saw he's got a magnet on his refrigerator. That's the call for a good time magnet, the Brian Kerns magnet.
Yeah.
And then I just met you today, but when Brian said that you were coming over, I asked EK who was Alex Moore, and he was like, "Oh, Alex, he used to live here. He was on My Name is Earl at a Denny's commercial." The chick said,
Yep.
Did you were there a
I
spokesman?
slept in that bedroom over there. There was the first bedroom by the bathroom, whatever.
Oh, Luca's bedroom now?
Yeah.
God, how did you fit in there?
Do you know how many loads he's blown in that room?
I still sneak in and drop them.
So that's what we've been hearing at night. That makes sense. That makes sense.
There's a big man coming on the floor, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to follow your path, but Benjamin Button version, because I'm trying to this was you transitioned back to Virginia
Right.
through here. I want to transition away from Virginia through here.
See,
this is my gateway to the West or the Texas.
FXBG Public Radio, a gateway to the West.
Yep.
I've known EK for probably 15 years.
You're family friends with EK, right?
Well, yeah. Kind of. Yeah, I mean, the ones that are still around, not so much, but the ones that aren't, yeah, Not to bring it down, man, but Cluxton's dead sister was willing to fuck me, and I didn't do it because I was married.
After she was dead, she was willing to fuck you?
Before and after, dude. It was both. I still got a shot, but probably not going to fire that one off. Cluxton's brother was a comedian when I was 2 years in, and there was Fredericksburg started. There was some shit going on in Northern Virginia with Wiseacres, and some other mics started opening up. But there you were getting 5 to 7 minutes, and then all of a sudden down here, some people were starting to start mics, and they were giving me 20 and paying me $10, So I started coming down here and doing those, and at one point there was a mic here 7 nights a week. And Cluxton's brother was in on that, and so that's how I met Cluxton.
And then he recorded for you guys too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Cluxton does done. We've done some shit together for a long time, and Cluxton actually recorded my CD.
I listened to that CD. I have it on my laptop.
This bitch could be you. And then Cluxon was our sound guy whenever we were fucking off with joke slingers, and you know, Cluxon's somebody that I call and occasionally make fun of just for the hell of it, and you know, typically it's Cluxon is a comedian. He just never told a joke, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, he's really funny. He helps me write a lot of jokes.
He has the same pain. He laughs at the harsh shit.
Yeah.
He just is shy about it and sits behind a computer and says, "Go get him, fellas." and you know, like, but on the inside, man, the things that Cluxon laughs at, like, you just know, he's more of a comedian than most people ever will be. And that's like a big advice thing to you would be, don't try. Yeah. Just be.
Yeah.
Like, don't say it. Yeah. Like, one time, man, like this bitch, I shouldn't call her bitch. I don't know her or anything like that, but she literally showed up at a show and had a card that said comedian, and she hadn't told a joke in her life on stage, and she's coming and saying, "Hey, here's my card," and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It took me 2 years of telling jokes to even say that I was a comedian, to even acknowledge it. I was an open micer. You know, until you start getting some of the experience and you really like it's like commit to it and have it be a part of you, then you know you're not. But and that's the thing about, like, when I was in LA, I was getting on more mics than people that live there, to the point where people thought I fucking lived there. You know, and I went in wrong too. I went in naive and asking for shit, like, what do I do? And I should have went in taking shit, which you don't know any better when you're young. But yeah, it's I mean, at this point, there's no reason for you to go anywhere. Online is where it's at. I would get a Rumble account and be one of the first guys on Rumble, and I would study Rush Limbaugh and just repeat what he says every day, and I would get a monetized page just repeating Rush Limbaugh shit on Rumble, you know. Because it's not really plagiarism and it's not really comedy, so you could just, that's what I'm gonna do. Cluxon, we're starting next week, man. I'm gonna fucking shave my hair off and my beard and be a conservative guy on Rumble.
He's gonna be named Ban Dongino.
Ban Dongino.
Yeah.
Shen
Blush Rimbaugh.
So nah, man, it's a tough road to hoe, man. But the thing is that you can't lose the fun, and it's like Alex was saying with not having to be money. Like it was my only income for a decade, which is crazy to say. It like, God, dude, what the fuck was I thinking? You know,
I would say to look at stand up is it's not the end. It's not the definition of who you are. So I think a lot of people go into it and they think, and I've done it, and even like when I was approached by like NBC came at me with like some casting people came at me and they were like, "Are you an actor?" And I went, "No, I'm a stand-up comic." But the truth is you're everything. So I would say don't pigeon yourself into being a stand-up comic. Right, not saying I'm only a stand-up comic. You do stand-up comedy, but really what you are is you're a personality.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
So instead of giving yourself the label of stand up, you do stand up and you also write and you also want to create other content. So you're a personality and you're more than just a stand up comic, because I think it pigeonholes you into this.
That's one thing that you
really
do.
Respect comedians.
Right.
They don't. You can tell motherfuckers that you've been at the store or that your name's on the wall. They're like, "What's that mean?" Unless you're another comedian, and even then, half of them don't know what the fuck that means. You know. And
being a comic is like, if once you're in it long enough. I started doing stand up when I was 17, and I did it actively until I was 42.
Damn.
So you got to think like, how are you? You don't quit that. You don't quit it. You are still that, as long as you are genuine with yourself and your true voice. Find your voice, and then find the people that like your voice, and then however you spit out whatever you're spitting out, whether that's on paper or on video or on stage, do that. But don't have like a goal of like having a special. Like
Yeah, because it's bullshit.
Those are dead. That's the idea of that being your end all.
I'm on Amazon.
You want to create and be a relevant voice. Ultimately, when you're a stand-up comic, you're trying to teach people something. You've got a higher calling, whether it's the irony of the current of times, or whether it's to teach people a value of some kind. I mean, in any way, that's really what stand-up is. Is you it's standing in front of people and projecting what your thought is, but use that as a tool with other things at the same time. Like put a little bit of chips in this basket and a little bit in this basket and a little bit of this basket, and build a career about being a personality.
Yeah, I definitely don't put all my eggs in one basket. Like I want like stand-up comedian is the thing that like my main focus, but I'm not so stupid that I'm like I'm gonna make it just doing stand-up. Like I just signed up for Backstage the other day so I can try and get like extra roles.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'll act.
There's a lot of that.
Oh, you're gonna be a great.
If you're in LA, there's a lot of work. I mean, you can go out.
No, there's shit in Richmond. John was doing it.
Yeah, but it's not going to be anything. I mean, it's going to be some.
Can't
experience.
you see this motherfucker as a Continental Soldier? You know.
Yeah, probably. In 1776.
I'm talking 2020 when during the Civil War.
Oh, the moderns part 2.
Yeah, 2021 part 2.
Continental Soldier.
Yeah. Acting is acting, and acting is real empty. Acting is very empty. Acting is I don't like acting. I mean, I act. I did a few things, but I never enjoyed any of it. Not a bit of it. There's no feedback. There's no any kind of
right.
There's nothing there. I mean,
that's part of the drug of comedy is the laugh, is that instant feedback.
Yeah.
It's that instant gratification.
That's what becomes addictive, man. That is the juice, man. That is exactly what the fuck you're getting. And that's why I couldn't do a socially distant show, because it doesn't fucking beat my dick hard enough.
right.
Like I already got no nerves down there to the point where it doesn't grip it enough for me to leave the house.
I can't not do it though. I'm still trying to.
I get it, but once you've been doing it a while and you felt some of that, like it's like getting good pussy and then all of a sudden you gotta
moving to Iowa.
Yeah, yeah, like and then you're like you'll still do it occasionally, but you don't really want to.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, and I mean the thing is that I think that when it comes to stand up, I obviously I didn't fucking make it anywhere, man. Like I'm not a good person to ask anything, man. Fucking.
Well, you're just not likable, Brian.
I'm very likable when it comes to stage presence and shit. Like I got that. It's just that there's
every other aspect of you.
When I got into it, thanks. When I got into it, I thought that there was this magical curtain that was going to open and there was going to be a fucking parade and they were going to, and then all of a sudden I'm on.
And I think that's what a lot of people think.
And all of a sudden I'm on all this shit and everything's fucking happening. And the thing is that literally everything in it is just another show. It is just another show. You could be on the Tonight Show, or you could be at the Rec Center, or you could be at the fucking Comedy Zone, or you could be
another room.
But it's just another show. Because you're going to be back at the fucking Rec Center. And you're going to be back at the
just look at how many fucking good comics ended up coming through
Liberty
Laughs, man. Like famous comedians that ended up doing 2 nights at Liberty Laughs. I mean, the coming down the ladder is hard, man. Like it's especially if you've got it in your head that you're this celebrity. And I think you're better off just being humble and just trying to no matter what, no matter how much money is there or is not there, it's just about being you no matter what. No matter what, be you. It doesn't matter. Because that's really what Brian just said. He didn't make it anywhere, but Brian's 40 years old, 38 years old or whatever. In terms of being an artist, a writer, or a philosopher, which is really what you, as comedians, it's partially philosophy. Mm-hmm. A 38-year-old philosophy isn't shit. A philosopher, that's too young. That's revisit that at 70, and see where you're at. So continue along with it and build the skill of it and diversify and make yourself something more than just being a comedian, because there's a lot of just comedians out there.
Right.
There's a lot of just really shitty. I mean, and they're famous. There's a lot of people who are they got their one trick pony.
They're frauds,
but there's
dude.
no depth to to who they are. I'd rather be a really deep individual with no money and no fame, but have people that know me and know what I do and know who I am, than be this super rich person that's of the veneer on a cheap table from Rent-A-Center. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I heard one of those guys down at Liberty Laughs, like part of his act was, buy a picture with me.
Fuck you.
And just, talking about himself and things that he's done. And I mean, the thing is like, I shouldn't say that I haven't done shit. I climbed halfway up the pyramid, and the pyramid's tall. And that's really what it is. I made money telling jokes to people that I wrote. And that's pretty cool. But in the hierarchy of, am I Louis C.K.? No, I've never masturbated in the room with another woman because another woman wasn't willing to come back to my room because I wasn't Louis C.K. So, not to sound better.
Tragic story. You sound upset about that.
I'm pretty upset about that, man.
When the Louis C.K. thing popped off, you were like, man, how come that couldn't have been me?
Nah, dude. Early, I've turned down threesomes, man. Telling
with
jokes
dudes.
with dudes. Nah, dude.
California.
One time it was these really hot college chicks, man, and they said, "How committed to your wife are you?" And I said, "What?" And they said, "How committed to your wife are you?" And I said, "Very." And then they were like, "Oh, that's a shame." And then they walked away. And I still think about that in my mind as being
jerking off,
as being the biggest mistake of my life. If my wife divorces me, like that'll be the one I should have just done it, But hopefully I stay together with my wife. We got a 2-year-old kid, But yeah.
Any last words, guys, before we finish this up?
No.
I'm all right too.
You got it all off your chest, Alex?
None.
I'm good.
I think the moral of the story is the lesson that you were trying to teach to other comedians is give up, start a plumbing company, and then open a air dried beef, and then move to Austin, Texas. But other comedians,
you're taking it the wrong way, man. Create.
Period.
Comedy ain't left me. I'm creating still, and that's really the pool of it. Is like I. It's not the same as fucking crushing a crowd of 500 or 300, but it's still awesome to make something, and that's really what stand up is writing.
It's creation,
writing down a fucking thought of yours and then saying it and having a reaction from it. That's it's a cool thing. So hopefully one day we're all vaccinated and we're all zombies, and I'll be able to do some shows again, man. Because that would be sweet.
That would be wonderful. Thanks for doing this, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having us, man.
All right, we're done.
Cool.
Cluxon's not in the room.
EK's not in the room.
We're still going.
So we're still going.
Yeah.
So the weather, huh?
That was kind of like Alex's tantric masturbation. We're done. Yeah. Oh no, we're not. We're not done. We're not done. No, what do you think of comedy, man? What do you think it is? What do I
think comedy is?
Yeah, how long have you been doing comedy, man?
I started doing comedy in March 2018.
Okay, so you're 2 years in?
Yeah.
Almost, a little over 2 years in.
I think a big part of life is about living in the moment.
Yep.
And experiencing the current moment, and comedy is like just a lot of like snapshots of moments. Every joke is like a different moment. And if I can make you laugh, then I can trap you in this moment with me, and you're not thinking about exterior forces and what the fuck ever, your bills and your dog that died or whatever the thing is that you're stressing out about.
Yeah, that's very valid. I think everybody starts from that place.
Yeah.
Where you're affecting a mood.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll get to the point where walking people's fun. Walking people becomes the funnest thing you can do, and like early in your career you'll think that silence is bad. But then eventually you're just going to stand in it for extra time because you're like...
Just embrace the silence.
Because you're like,
there's good tricks you can do, man. If you want to really learn like how to really be comfortable in silence. I don't know how you are, but there used to be this guy named Tony Moschetto and Tony was a New England comic, a Boston comic, and I used to go down to the Comedy Connection in Boston, and Dane Cook hadn't gotten famous yet, so I would go up, and then Tony would normally middle, and then Dane would come out. But one night, Tony did a whole show where all he did was knit. He didn't talk. He didn't tell any jokes. He got up and he said, "I'm teaching myself how to knit." And he would knit, and the crowd's like, "What the fuck is this guy doing, man?" And then he knitted, and he'd say, "Oh, look at this loop. I got this loop. I'm finally doing it. I got it right. Fuck yeah." He's just talking to himself through knitting. And then at the end, the very end was like some joke that he had made up but it was at the very end, it was a little bitty glove. And it was like, I can smack that ass, or it was something stupid. Crowd loved it, but it was the most excruciating thing to watch. But it was an exercise for him. And Dice did it with the potato chips.
Yep.
They learn something that is painful. Do something that, God, it hurts. But get comfortable with that silence, dude, because that silence is your friend.
I was in New York, man, and I was at the Comedy Cellar, and this dude came in, and I don't know who the fuck it was, but he was like, "I've been doing this for fucking 9 years, man, 9 years, and they told me I need to work on my stage presence." And he spent the rest of his time walking around saying stage presence in different ways, man.
Yep.
And I'm watching. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm only 2 years in, like you, and I'm like, what? This guy's not taking it seriously.
Looks like psychosis, but it's not.
But it's not. It's what you need. And then comedy is
David
also
Taylor with the phone.
Another
example. Text me something. Text me a question. David Taylor here's my phone number. Text me a question. It's a painful thing to watch but once it starts working, it works.
Well, and that's the thing about the store that a lot of people don't get is how you can try anything there and people do. Yep. Like Kill Tony is Tony's thing, but it's definitely influenced by who he looked up to.
Absolutely.
And and it's a really cool thing what he made and stuff. But you can do anything there. And just so you know, the craziest thing I ever saw there, one night, Don Barris brought up this chick, and she pulled out her tits, and I was like, "This is awesome." And then she pulled down, like she had a skirt on and she had no panties, and she pulled up her fucking skirt, and she took a rag, like a wet wipe, and shoved it up her pussy. And then she pulled it out and put it in her mouth. And I cheered, man. I fucking cheered because I ain't never seen that shit. And then, you tell other people that story and they're like, "Oh, that was just a hooker." And that's what hookers do. And I was like, "Oh, but I ain't never seen it, man. I'm fucking there. I'm cheering. Fucking yes. Clean it."
Yep.
So anyway, there's a million stories that are like that though. Like it's. And that's the thing is, like, you around here, it's tough to take chances because you have people that don't understand chances.
Yeah. That's the thing that L.A. brings out in people, and whether or not you move to L.A. or you move to Texas or you move wherever, or the people who move to somewhere else to go do stand up, those are the lions. Funny or not. Gonna make it or not, the fact that they moved from wherever they live to LA separates them automatically from a whole class of people, and they are the lions. It's similar to what made America a great place, because when you came to America, you were the lion of wherever you were from, whether you're from the Sudan or you're from England or you came to America, and you were the one that said, "Fuck it, I'll go do it. I might get killed. I'm going to try it." And that's the same out there. So there's a lot of powerful personalities out there, whether they're funny or not. You might meet a dude that's not funny at all, but that dude might be a badass, man. He might be I know some real cool dudes, not necessarily funny, but they moved across the country because they believed in themselves. They got a personality. They got a strength to them. And a lot of times when they can harness the two and you can take the funny plus the strength, That's what makes people like Tony. People look at Tony and they go, "Oh, that guy, he's fucking faggot." I'll put Tony up against anybody, man. I put Tony up against any living person to do anything. I don't care if you're flying a plane. I don't care if you're learning how to drive a tank. I would let Tony operate on me before I would let a person. If I had a wound, and I had a book that explained how to do a wound, I would hand that book to Tony with a suture and some twine or whatever the fuck, and let him sew me up before I would let an average person do it, because that dude's got more willpower to succeed than anybody I've ever known, and that's why he's in the position that he's in.
Oh, dude, that is true. He believes it.
He believes in him fucking self, so you have to believe in yourself, and then you're in a room full of people who believe in themselves. That's the difference between here and there. Here you're an open mic in downtown Fredericksburg. Half the guys there, they're just doing it or whatever. They think they can do it. They're milling about a career of some kind in stand-up.
Which is really a mid-Atlantic tour that they want to do someday.
But out there, you got guys who not only do they think it, but they did it, and now they're there, and they're in a room full of other dudes who are there. So it's like taking a lion from the Central Zoo in Minneapolis and moving him into a pen of nothing but lions from all over the country. And that's the reason that you would want to, if you wanted to escalate a career in this, is you want to go to something like that, is because of the power of that learning experience.
Yeah, because
it's the iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely,
dude. Because roast battle happened, and then we went out there in March.
Yeah.
And Moses was there, and he's like, "Kerns, fucking hug me, man. Where you been, man?
Yeah,
you missed it." And but it's go be a lion, man. And also, like, the internet is the escape, and that's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
YouTube killed a lot of shit, and we were part of watching it happen. YouTube changed the game. Took away attention spans, made not the need. I don't understand Zoom shows. That's like a foreign concept to me, which
looks boring to me.
Which means that I'm a dinosaur, because I don't want to look like a Brady Bunch person telling it's alien shit to me, man. I couldn't do it.
I haven't done a Zoom comedy show yet. I don't even like doing the Zoom podcast. I'd rather do it person to person.
But doing YouTube content,
like skits and shit.
Not even skits, but just you talking about the shit you want to talk about. Not even doing pre-made thing. Just looking at the news, pulling up a news feed and talking about something until you get it right. Until you get it to where your commentary is quick and there's no fluff in it, and if you can do that, man, you could get 1 million followers, and it's all part of a bigger picture.
Like, do you know
bigger than comedy?
You know Hobo Johnson?
Yeah.
That dude just went viral, and I saw Hobo Johnson. Like, I don't know how Hobo Johnson's shit ended up in my Facebook watch feed, but that dude's at a concert and it's fucking filled. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Hobo Johnson, man, just fucking talk about I want a record deal. Got himself to where he is filling places and performing. That is nuts. Like, and that's where like with any of the internet content, it's the long haul. It's not giving up. It's the same thing as stand-up, but I think that you're better off getting good at doing shit like this than you are doing shit like that, because obviously do you want to do a parking lot show where people are in their cars and they honk instead of laugh? I couldn't do it, man. How the fuck would I do crowd work as, hey, look at that Corolla over there. That's a fucking sweet ass
Sentra?
Yeah, dude.
How many years have you been married?
Oh, yeah. Beep for one, or yeah, dude. It's just fucking
terrible.
So you're better off just fucking sitting here in the lab and coming up with shit every fucking day, whether it's a minute or 15 minutes or whatever, and throwing it at the wall, because it doesn't fucking matter anyway. And you should have the same thoughts on your stand-up too, and don't be afraid to just go on stage and eat chicken wings the whole time.
Yeah.
And sit Indian style and use 100% of your time doing that.
Yep.
Because everybody will look at you and be like, Scott, what the fuck are you doing?
No, man. I advise you to go do that.
I'm definitely doing that on Thursday.
Go
I'll
do
get a
exactly
fucking
what
big
he
basket of
says.
chicken wings.
And when you're going and when you're getting kicked off, resist.
Resist.
Resist getting kicked off. Tell them you got more. You got more to show. There is more to that. You haven't even gotten to the good part yet. And if you were to resist like that, and that's exactly the kind of shit that the killers would do. That's exactly what Brody Stevens would do.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God.
You resist, man. It's the truth.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Is like,
They take the mic from you, you run back up on stage, and you take the mic back, and then after the shit hold on, wait, and then go right back to eating chicken wings.
dude, and the thing is that you can count them down.
Yeah.
12, 8, 11.
Yeah.
I'm 100% doing that.
I'm telling you.
Because I'm also too late. I'm too lazy to write a set. I don't feel like writing a new set, so I'm just going to do that on Thursday.
Well, I mean, if there's nobody at the show, you shouldn't be writing a set anyway, man. Just go up there and fucking
People at the
clown.
show?
I'm just saying, like, how many people at the show?
All right, there's not a lot of people at the show.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
was
go.
just trying to get you to go.
Yeah, you gotta go in there and you gotta get their attention and you gotta just clown and fucking be yourself and talk about real life things that you, because you'll end up finding something that you use later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, but anyway, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Fuck this thing.
All right. Yep.
I mean, thanks. Turn it off.
Can't just end abruptly like
Bacon
that.
Bros, fine meats.
Yes, Bacon Bros find air-dried beef and other meats. Other meats?
They're coming, man.
There's some more meat coming.
Okay.
There's some definitely
It's
some more
not just
meat coming.
empty promises.
Is
It's just, there's
that
more
going to be
to
the
it.
name of your next company?
Yeah,
Empty
yeah.
Promises?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's yeah.
You've paid now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we're done. We were done earlier, but you weren't in the room, so.
Yeah.